G'day humans, I've finally been to see Avengers Endgame today, and I wanted to share some initial thoughts with you right now. So obviously I'm going to go full spoilers. If for some reason you've clicked onto my video and haven't seen the movie, well, just go watch it. You don't need me to tell you to go watch it. So I want to say that I enjoyed this movie immensely. It all came together beautifully. The writing was top-notch. It was well-paced, there was plenty of tension, and there was a good balance of weighty drama, character moments, and humour. And I thought it made good use of the characters who were available. So this movie basically had 3 chapters. The first was the aftermath of Infinity War, the characters reacting and trying to figure out how to move on with their lives. The second was the great plan, the Time Heist, to get the stones from the past. And the third was the climactic battle with Thanos, after they'd restored all those that had been lost. So let's look at these chapters one at a time. The film really allowed us to dwell in the aftermath of Infinity War for a decent amount of time, which was important. I like the initial confrontation between Iron Man and Captain America. Tony has all but given up. We lost. It's over. He doesn't even go with them to confront Thanos. But what I really like is that he does move on. He marries Pepper, has a daughter, and actually manages to find happiness. And I was really glad for him. Thor's beer gut was pretty funny. Now, some might say that this movie did a disservice to Thor with the way it treated his character, but I think it allowed him to react emotionally, as one would expect for someone who's been through all that Thor has been through. I'm glad that they didn't buff him back up again during a 2-minute montage. They let him live with the consequences, and I respect that. Hawkeye becomes a brutal vigilante following the loss of his wife and kids, hating himself for what he's become. But is he that different from Daredevil or Batman? The others all try to find new meaning for their lives as best that they can. I don't remember there being any jokes in this chapter, and I'm glad that they kept the serious tone, letting us dwell in the darkness so that we could appreciate the hope all the more when it comes. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more exploration of what the world was like after half the population had vanished. But you could do an entire TV series about that, and there was a lot that this movie had to accomplish. So I understand why we didn't go in it any deeper. And let's be honest, we did get some of that. So then we get to Chapter 2, the Time Heist. This was the most light-hearted part of the movie. And as much as I love a good, gritty, serious superhero movie, I was okay with this. First of all, the idea of a time heist is awesome fun. I like heists, and I love time travel, so this was a great mix. And it allowed us to take a nostalgic look back at past movies. It also provided some surprisingly satisfying character moments, such as for Tony and his dad. The time travel itself was handled pretty well for the most part and was internally consistent with itself, except for one scene near the end, which I'll talk about later. There were plenty of jokes in this section, but they often served to enhance character, which I always appreciate. And then there was that dark scene with Hawkeye and Black Widow. I didn't think much about it until I saw them land on that planet and begin the climb up the mountain. And I thought, oh, this is gonna be bad. That either of them could serve as someone you love for the other was never in question for me. These two have a genuine brotherly, sisterly love for each other. And I came to the same conclusion they did. One would have to sacrifice himself. Neither could kill the other. Is it bad that I wanted Black Widow to be the one to die? Don't get me wrong, I mourned her death, and I hated that Hawkeye had to watch her die. I mean, I love her character, she's so cool. But he had a wife and kids who needed him, and they both knew it. And this is what she wanted, absolutely without a doubt. I liked the way they brought Gamora back from the dead. Sort of. We have the character again for Guardians 3, But there was a cost. It's not quite the same Gamora, and that's a heartbreaking loss for Star-Lord. I approve. Nicely done. The way they brought back past Thanos into the present to serve as a threat during the final chapter, after the lost people were all restored, was great. And it felt very natural. It allows us to close one chapter and open another. It also allowed that grand epic showdown with all the Marvel characters. And epic that battle was. This battle rivaled Lord of the Rings, and I had a lot of feels from it. Seeing all those characters appearing and hearing the Avengers theme, powerful stuff. The Battle of New York in the first Avengers movie had a lot of spectacle, but this battle had a lot of emotion. And then the victory. It made sense. It was foreshadowed in Infinity War. Doctor Strange gave Tony that look, and they both knew. But Tony gave his life willingly, for the universe, for the planet, for his wife, for his little girl. What father wouldn't do that for his daughter? I have a daughter. I get it. The epilogues were emotionally satisfying, especially Tony's funeral. Even the jokier bits, like Thor with the Guardians, had a little charm. It's just nice to see Thor happy again. I mentioned that I had a time travel quibble with one bit. Captain America went back and lived the rest of his life with Peggy Carter. Good for him. That was a nice ending for his character. But he shouldn't have been sitting there on the bench as an old man. When he went back, it was to an alternate timeline. He created a branch by being with Carter. Therefore, he should not have been in our timeline as an old man. I understand why they did that scene. They allowed him to have the passing of the torch, letting the surviving characters know that he was okay. But it was not consistent with the concept of time travel established by the rest of the story. All in all, Avengers Endgame is a beautiful companion to Infinity War, and together they serve as a fantastic end to the story which Marvel has spent the last 20 or so movies telling. Yes, I know there will be more in the future, but to me, this is a definitive end to something. What comes next is something else, and that's fine. So, well done, Marvel Studios. I've liked some of your movies better than others, and often my opinions have been the opposite of the majority. But you've created something truly special that deserves to be remembered as an icon of early 21st century culture. So, good on you. Be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments about Endgame. Anyway, that's me for tonight. It's been a big day. It was a long movie. And, yeah, I'll see you next time.